ערב טוב. Our Parashat Pinchas, very strong character, strong story. In the beginning of the parasha, actually in the end of the last week's parasha, and this is the beginning of our parasha, and this is how from that it continues. We're talking about the last days, not the last days, but the last days of the 40 years in Egypt, in the desert. One second, sorry. Yeah. So, what's happening in the parasha? In the parasha, it's as I said, the end of the 40 years. And in the end of the 40 years, many things happening. Hello, Avraham.
Hey, Tere. I will make my tea, then I...
No problem.
No
problem. So, in the end of the 40 years, we have the story of Moshe naming a successor, of the how you say, God giving the land to every tribe, his piece of land, dividing the land, we can call it. And this is a second topic that we have in our parasha. And the third parasha, it's about the sacrifices. But let's start from the beginning, from the story of Pinchas. What was the story of Pinchas? The story of Pinchas is, we started learning in last week parasha. After Balak and Bilam had their meeting, their unsuccessful plot, Bilam telling Balak, listen, you called for me here because I know what I'm doing. I was not able to curse the Jewish nation. But the God of the Jewish nation hates worshipping other idols, and hates when the Jewish people are mixing with non-Jewish girls. And you should combine those two things together. And this can be a very big thing against the Jewish people. Actually, the original plan of the Jewish nation was, and we learned it, God specifically said not to touch Moab. God was not, the Jewish plan was not to go in a war with the nation of Moab, and this is a law. Why? Because they are cousins, they are the sons of Lot, and we don't need to go in a war with them. After the story of Bnot Moab, of the girls of Moab, we did go not to a war, but we did kill the leaders and teach them a lesson. But what happened? The king or the leaders of Moab did send the girls of the nation to start interacting with the Jewish nation. And they succeeded, and many Jews were involved with them, and was a terrible situation. How it stopped? It stopped when one of the most important leaders of the Jewish nation came in front of Moshe and all the elderly leaders, and he asking Moshe, can I take this girl. And all the leaders of the Jewish nation crying in front of him. And he did what he did with the girl in front of everyone. Moshe also, of course, crying. And then coming a young guy. Who was that guy? Pinchas. Pinchas was the son of Elazar. Elazar was the son of Aaron, meaning a great nephew of Moshe, a grandson of Aaron. He killed this leader in front of everyone. And this is how the story ended. Jewish people were, let's say, was in shock because they understood what's going on, and they understood how bad is it. After that, God commanded Moshe to punish all the sinners, and it was a very big part of Jewish nation died actually that time. This was the story of Pinchas. We will go back to it with more details and very interesting things. After that, the parasha continuing with the story of counting. Moshe started counting the Jewish nation. After any major destruction of the Jewish nation, that many people dying, we have a recount of the Jewish nation. And this is why there is a recount. And after the counting of the Jewish nation, Jewish people realized that all the generation of the desert, of the people that was going out of Egypt, passed away. 40 years are passed. We are ready to go inside Israel. Now, God commanding Moshe, to those families you should give the land. And give the land was not only something general, it was also connected, and it is connected very strong to the laws of the Torah. What do I mean? Every family from this generation got a part in the land that belonged to her, to this family, to eternity. And it was by the law, the Jewish law, by the court law, the Jewish court law, and it was also, of course, in a spiritual way. Every Jew had until today actually, special connection to the land of Israel in general, and to a specific piece of land that belonged to him. But then came an interesting situation. The Jewish law is that a male is inheriting. The female is not inheriting. Of course, today in our times, the custom in Etzakot, of course, it's recognized in the Jewish law, but also female inheritance. But in those times, it was clear that only male inherit. If a person doesn't have kids, for example, and he passed away, who is inheriting him? His brothers, his father, his uncle, the closest relative. But in that time, there was one family that the father had only girls, and he passed away. His name was Tzlofchad. His girls they called Bunot of Tzlofchad, the daughters of Tzlofchad. 5 daughters, smart, intelligent, very special girls. They came to Moshe, telling him, Moshe, our father passed away. And why he passed away? In those generation, why he passed away? He passed away because why he passed away? They say he passed away in the verses we can see Bechet Omet. He passed away because he had a specific sin. It was not involved in the plot of the spies, in the plot of Korach, specific interesting sin. And he passed away, and he have only daughters. And who will inherit the land? Why we would not inherit the land? We don't want the land to go to his brother. We want the land. And Moshe told the girls, wait, I will ask God. And then God commanded that if there is no boys, the girls are inheriting. Then came the opposite situation. If a woman inherits something, let's say, according to the Jewish law, a woman that getting married to a man, so all of her belongings becoming the man belongings. They are both, and not only both, he is the owner, because according to the Jewish law, everything that she belongs also belonging to him. So people came to Moshe and asking him, okay, those girls will get married. If they will get married to a person that is not one of their own tribe, they will have a family. The family will, the tribe of these girls will change. From being the tribe of Reuven, for example, they got married to the tribe of Shimon. The family becomes Shimon because the tribes of Israel are going according to the father. And then the land will suddenly will change owners of the tribe. And eventually the tribe, the piece of land of the tribe becomes smaller. So then God commanded that in that situation girls will be married only to people from their tribe. This law was only until they got the land in Israel. After 14 years, this law stopped. After every tribe got their part, this law was cancelled. It was a temporary law of God. What's interesting, when it was cancelled, what was the date? When was the date that Jewish tribes become allowed to be married to each other? In 20th of Av, in 15 of Av. 15 of Av in Israel, it's a holiday of love. This is one of the reasons. Because in that time, it became a law that all the Jewish people can be married to each other. Okay. This is, by the way, it's very interesting subject, the daughter of Tzlofchad. And very interesting. We will continue. Moshe being called, of course, by the God to see the promised land. See but not go inside. And then on the mountain of Nevo, mountain of Nevo he buried. In the mountain of Avarim, look on the land, and Moshe telling God, this is a time to think about successor. Moshe approaching God. Why Moshe approaching God? He doesn't think that God is responsible. So some say Moshe wanted his son to be successful. Moshe was a king. Why would his son not be the successor? This is a subject for itself. But God telling Moshe, your sons will not continue your work, it will be your student, Yehoshua. And Moshe crowning Yehoshua in front of Israel, not crowning, we can say he make all the Jewish nation to understand that he is the leader, the next leader. And also, in that time, the high priest was the son of Aaron. And he also crowned Yehoshua to be the successor of Moshe. Okay, then we have the last part of our parasha, the part of the sacrifices. In our parasha, we have the laws of the sacrifices. The sacrifices in the temple are divided to two parts. The regular parts, the daily sacrifices, and the sacrifices that they are in addition to the daily sacrifices. In the holidays, we have a special sacrifice.
Also in Shabbat.
Also in Shabbat, very good. Actually, there is one interesting about the sacrifices. There is a midrash that few opinions what is the most important verse in the Torah. One say Shema Israel, one say Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am your God, the first command. There is opinion that Bereshit, the first verse of the Torah. There is one opinion of Bar Kapara that he's saying את הכבש האחד תעשה בבוקר ואת הכבש השני תעשה בין הארבעים. This verse talking about the daily sacrifice. This verse said, the morning sacrifice you should do in the morning. The first sacrifice you should do in the morning. And the second sacrifice you should do afternoon. This is the most important. Why? Because this is Judaism. If we think about it. The sacrifices representing the work of God that were in the center, in the heart of the Jewish nation. And there were two lines, the lines of the daily sacrifices. The routine was exactly the same. But some days, like Shabbat, like holidays, had in addition another sacrifices. There is two parts in Judaism. There is the daily, the basic, the strong, the routine. This is the strong part. This is the base. All the excitement of holidays, all the feeling, all the joy, all the emotion parts, or the occasionally, we can call it, there's something that happening once in a while, you cannot build on it the Judaism. If we will take aside the basic part, only the holidays. Let's say Judaism was only holidays. Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, and Shabbat, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Actually, many Jews and many religions are exactly like that. And not only that, many Jews, this is their way that they are observing Judaism in holidays. And Bar Kapara said this is not Judaism. Because Judaism is not about the excitement. It's not about the songs. It's not about the gefilte wish once in a while. Or it's not about even a holy thing. It's not about Sukkah. It's not about shofar. It's about something that affects your daily life. This is Judaism. That your daily life you're connected to God. The routine. In the routine you're serving God. And this is the most important verse in the Torah. Not Anochi, I am your God. You should not have. This is in Shavuot we're hearing this. This is amazing. This is wow. It's not Shema Israel that we are connected. When we closing our eyes, most of the day we are not closing our eyes. Our eyes are open. את הכבש אחד תעשה בבוקר. The verses that are talking about the routine, they're talking about open eyes. When you're going to work, your daily work, then you should be connected to God. This is one nice idea. Now we should go back to Pinchas. Let's read. I will read 1 second. The first Rashi in our parasha. The first, I think. 1 second. I will open it. Rashi. Yes, the first Rashi in our parasha. The parasha starts, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. God spoke to Moshe after the story of Pinchas and told him, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, he did amazing thing, and that's why I'm giving him a reward. What was the reward? The reward was, Pinchas was the oldest grandson of Aaron. Aaron became priest. Pinchas was already alive. And who became the priests? Only Aaron and his 2 sons. Pinchas did not become a priest. The sons that was born, the grandsons of Aaron that was born after Aaron became a priest, they become priests. So Pinchas was the only one from the family of Aaron that was not a priest. Understand the situation? So that was Pinchas' reward, that he will become a priest, a holy one, to all generation. It's not a reward only to him, it's also a reward to all the family. This is the first part of the parasha. Rashi want to explain the words Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen. Why the Torah said Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron the priest? Why? So Rashi explained, because the tribes spoke this disparagingly of him. Disparagingly, I cannot say it. Saying, what they were saying? They were laughing or they were not appreciating Pinchas. What they were saying? Have you seen this grandson of Puti, the father of his mother, used to fatten calves for idolatrous sacrifices? Let's explain. Pinchas was the son of Elazar. Elazar was the son of Aaron. Moshe and Elazar were uncle and a nephew. Moshe was the brother of Aaron. Elazar was the son of Aaron. Moshe was married to Tzipporah. Who was Tzipporah? We know. Tzipporah was a girl, the daughter of Yitro. That Yitro was priest in Midian. Yitro was not a Jewish priest. He was a very big idolatry person, serving. Okay. That was Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe. Elazar was married to Tzipporah's sister. Meaning the uncle and the nephew were married to sisters. Okay? So Elazar not only was the nephew of Moshe, he was his brother-in-law. Okay? So Pinchas is also grandson of Yitro. Pinchas is a grandson of Yitro. The tribe said about Pinchas, did you see this grandson of Puti, that his mother's father was fattening calves for idolatry? Who was his grandfather? A person that fattening calves to worship other idols. And I'm continuing Rashi, and he has dared to slay a prince of once Israel tribes. He killed the president of the tribe of Shimon. This person that his grandfather was so. Therefore, scripture come and comments his genealogy with Aaron. That's why the Torah telling he's not the grandson of Puti, of Yitro. He was the grandson of Aaron. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron. The other grandfather. This is Rashi. Beautiful. But this Rashi, very hard to understand. Let's try to understand what people said. You see this grandson of Puti that he killing. First of all, why people said that? Why? What was their interest? Second thing is, he did the good thing or a bad thing? If he did a bad thing, so he did a bad thing, you should not speak about his grandfather. If he did a good thing, again, what are you speaking about his grandfather? What is the connection of the grandfather to the story? It was good or bad. Second thing is, what is speaking about the grandfather? That he fattened calves to idolatry. It's more simple to say that he worshipped other idols. Why you should say this specific thing? That he was fattened the calves. This is very interesting. And the explanation, of course, according to the Rabbi, is also very interesting and very, very powerful. First of all, what was the interest of those people? What bothered them? What bothered them? We need to understand the confusion of the Jewish nation. It's amazingly confusing. One of the presidents of the tribe doing such a terrible thing in front of Moshe and all the most important people, and no one doing anything. It's not only the act of thousands, it's not only the act of this important person, it's also the silence of the leaders. Moshe and all the elderly crying, not doing anything. And then one young person saving the day. It's not in the honor of the Jewish nation, and it's not in the honor of Moshe. Who saved the day? The nephew of the grandson of Aaron. It's nice, but you saved the day. But of course, this is not enough. So they just found something to laugh at him. So Jewish people are not stupid. So they found something very, very powerful, actually. You're saying, who was his grandfather? This Pinchas. His grandfather was Yitro, the father of his mother. Yitro was mean, was a bad person. Why? I'm saying what they say. Because Yitro was not only a person that's worshipping other idols. It was a person that fattening the calves before killing them. Fattening, yes? It's how you say this word? It's something very, very not good. It means that you have something in your nature. It's a bit psycho. It's something you don't have a pity of the animal. You making her fat only to kill her. Something there is extreme. Something there in their nature. That's why they choosing this specific thing. The problem was not that he worshipped other idols. Yeah, he worshipped other idols and then he become Jew. We all know it. But something in his nature is not correct. He's not. Moshe and all the elderly was silenced not because they were ashamed, because they were, they are, how you say, patient. They are Jews. They are shy. They are not. You, extremist, meshuga. You're crazy. How do I know that you're crazy? Your grandfather was such a terrible person. Giving food to an animal just to make the animal fat, just to kill her. Crazy. Meaning, in other words, what was the strength of Pinchas? Yes, this is what God appreciates about Pinchas. God appreciates about Pinchas that he was, in Hebrew you're saying kanai. You know what is kanai? Kanai means not extreme, but it means it's a good question how to say it in English. 1 second. No. He was strong in his nature. He had crazy. This is what God likes him. Kinat Hashem means extreme measures for God. Pinchas found in himself something extreme to do to make the names of God more appreciated, more holy. No one did it. So the Jewish people said, this is not, he did not did it because he wanted the name of God bigger. He did it because he is a killer. How do I know that he's a killer? This is his genes. If we will read again Rashi, we would see that Rashi specify few things. Rashi said that the grandfather, the father of his mother, according to Jewish tradition, the genes going more strongly in the mother's side. So that's why Rashi said the father of his mother, because he's talking about the genes. His genes is of a crazy person. This is what the Jewish people said. Why? Because he was not doing it for God. This is what the Jewish people wanted to say. He's doing it because this is his nature. He's a bit mad. He's a bit extremist in a bad way. 1 second. Find another word that's slipping my mind. He's cruel. They said he's cruel. His grandfather was cruel, and he is also cruel. You have cruelty in him. Okay? Now let's try to understand a little bit deeper Rashi. Of course, we didn't finish. Rashi not saying only that they said that his grandfather was a cruel person. He also continued, and he has dread to slay a prince of one of his Israeli tribes. The Jewish people want to say here's something more strong. He have cruelty in him. And the leader that he killed was a good person. How come? The Midrash said that the tribe of Shimon terribly fell into this mess of the girls of Moab. Many of them. And they came to the leader of their tribe and told them, we all going to die in the end because we did not control ourselves, and you as a leader not taking care of us. And this was the reaction of the leader. The reaction of the leader was that he took the girl in front of Moshe and did it in front of Moshe. Why? He wanted to save his tribe. He wanted to be one of them. He wanted to be a good leader. This was the reaction. So the Jewish people said, you, a cruel person, killing this good person that sacrificed his life for his tribe. This is why Rashi specify, we can say, that not only you are grandson through your mother's side to Yitro, you also killed one of the leaders and prince that sacrifices his life. What come in the Torah? What come God and answer this terrible thing? What was again what the Jewish people said? The Jewish people said, you are not doing the war for God. It's not God inside you, it's the devil inside you. You have cruelty inside you. And you're saying this is for God. You're saying this. God said, this is Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the high priest, the son of Aaron, the high priest. Aaron was a person that all the Jewish people knew. He was a person of peace. When Aaron passed away, Jewish people cried more than Moshe passed away. Because Moshe was a leader. Leader is the judge. Not everybody likes the judge. The winning side likes the judge. The losing side doesn't want to like the judge. Aaron was a person of peace. This was his life's work. When a husband and a wife were separated, he went to the husband, convinced him, went to the wife, between friends, between family. That was his life's work. That's why when he passed away, all the Jewish nation cried. Aaron was a person of peace. And God saying, this is the Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron. He have peace inside him. He doesn't have cruelty inside him. In doing it, not because this is his nature of killing. His nature to make peace. And this is an act of peace. Amazing. Why this is an act of peace? Because you're thinking about peace between people. But he's thinking about maybe a greater peace between people and God. Between Jewish people and God. How this terrible thing will stop. This was the way. He saw that to make peace, you should do a war. Not something that everybody can understand. But sometime to make peace, you should make an extreme move. A move that it's against your nature. And this is the only way to make peace. And this is what Pinchas did. He knew that the high goal is peace. And that was the way to do peace. And if we're taking it a little bit deeper even, the act of the prince of Shimon, if we understand that the act of Pinchas, it appears like a cruelty, but it's actually a peace action, it's also the opposite, to the opposite side. He, the prince of the tribe of Shimon, did peace, something of kindness. But what he did? The tribe of Shimon, the people came to him, telling him, we all in a bad situation. So what you doing as a leader? What he did? He did the same thing. So people that had the tiniest regret inside them, forget about regret. The leader did it. He locked the way back for the people. If he was a person of peace, maybe he would tell them, don't worry, you can do tshuva, you can regret, you should do this and that, you're right, you are in a terrible situation, let's go out from it. He was not a person of peace. He locked the way back. He told them, you're right, and he separated them from the way back. So, if you're looking in first glance, it would seem, and this is what the Jewish people said, this prince was president of the tribe was a person of peace. Pinchas was a person extreme of cruelty. God said exactly the opposite way. Sometimes you should do extreme things, cruelty even, something that it's against your nature to make peace. And sometimes you're doing something that you're helping the needy, but actually they would stay needy because you helped them to be needy. You did not help them to go back. So it's very, very interesting to learn that there is extremist, and sometimes you think this is extreme person. But inside you would see that he is not extreme, he's actually the softest person. But because he's seeing the goal so strong, so he know that the only way is to act in an extreme way. And it's also the opposite side. People can be kind, can be not so extreme, they can be, but the truth is that they always want to stay the same. They want the status that the bad will stay bad, the good will stay good, and everything will stay the same. And we should look at we should know to observe in a deeper way the situation. This is what God telling the Jewish people. Pinchas was the good side. What we can add on it? 1 second. Want to add something maybe? Any questions before?
No.
No. It's nice, Avraham.
Yes.
Okay. 1 second. We finished this. Yeah. Okay, this is we said complete the idea. So I think it's a very strong idea that we should pay attention to this idea.
But is there